excellent today. I think we all totally agree with that. But when you actually dissect those goals and you look at how Tottenham obviously carved out the opportunities, you look at Rashford in terms of like the first goal where he just completely misses the challenge with Garnacho, and then you've got Dalot at the back post that doesn't match a run, which is like, that's just such basics. The way that you let the defender run through for the first goal, really poor. Martinez for the second goal, poor defending. And you look at the third goal there, people just not picking up. You've got Solanke, you know he's a predator in the box, he's going to score goals. Nobody's actually taking responsibility and going, that's my man, I'm going to mark him. And it's symptomatic of everything about Man United. And that actually summed them up in a nutshell, those 3 goals, if you flip it the other way. And don't just look at the good of Tottenham, but you look at how poor Manchester United were. It was so easy for them. You know, they just look so comfortable, so calm. They're under no duress. And it feels to me now with United, I think that's £616 million he spent, Ten Hag. He's been here in 2 years. They're going backwards. He's going backwards. He can't complain anymore. He's got his back 4 in place. He's got all the players at his disposal. There's no excuses. They are rock bottom right now. I just don't see where he can go from here. They are as bad as I've seen the United side. It's actually, I think, would Gary call it disgusting? It's embarrassing because of a club of this stature shouldn't be producing performances like that. And the most damning thing, and Christian Eriksen said it after the game midweek against FC 20, they don't want it enough. That can never happen. You can get beaten, you can always have moments where a team does you a bit of skill or a bit of quality, but you can't get outworked. And that was the most damning thing for me in these last few games.
I mean, to send him off in that situation, maybe the referee, just take your time a little bit, don't jump the gun and put the red card up. I just think he reacted a little bit too quickly, but when he sees that back, and surely they'll probably make a statement and say they got that wrong, because for me, that's not a red card.
You think the VAR should have overturned it as well?
Yeah, because it's a booking. I'm not saying it's not foul.
He's slipped.
Exactly. I'm not
it's
quite
hard
sure
to control what you're doing when you've slipped over, you know, and I think that's where you're exactly right there. Out of control, and he puts his right leg up. But like Darren says, you almost catch him with the back of his heel. There's no real intent to hurt him. He's probably petulant, if anything, but a booking would have sufficed and we could have got on with the game.
A really inventable finish from Kulusevski there as well, because it's not an easy finish, but it almost makes his mind up for him, because it pops up there, you either go over your head, but I mean, it's a fantastic finish.
All the words I used during commentary, atrocious, awful, disgusting, it was all those things in the first half. Second half I comment less on because of the fact they're down to 10 men and they're having a little bit of a go. But just, you know, he's talked about 2 things there. He's talked about the pressing element of the game. He's talked about, obviously, the playing out from the back. The pressing element, I mean, they sort of dropped to what would be sort of now deemed as a mid-block position when it was Xerxes and sort of Fernandez. And I couldn't work out what the trigger was for the press for the first sort of 5-10 minutes of the match. Surely one of the centre-backs is on the ball, whether it's Van de Ven or Romero, they press off one of them getting the ball because they think they're the weakest, or do they wait for it to go to a right-back or a left-back and then they press off a side? It was as if they were just allowing Tottenham to basically play at their own will without any trigger for a press at all. So I wasn't quite sure what the plan was in terms of the press. You then come on to playing out from the back, and Tottenham do press pretty well. They've got good energy up front, and Manchester United have proven time and time again, only here against Liverpool a few weeks ago, that they get caught all the time against a half-decent team when they try and play out sort of from the back. And then we move on to the players. So you say, are the players not buying into what Erik ten Hag is telling them to do, or do they not believe in it? And we've seen it here today. They really didn't put the effort in that first half. Now, in the past, when Manchester United have been in this position where, you know, a manager has been under pressure, the players sometimes have felt the pressure, the strain, and they look drained and they look lacking in the belief, and that sometimes can mean that they look like they're not working hard. I don't believe any player goes out onto a pitch and wants to not play well and wants to get criticism. We know from the last 10 to 12 years is that from a day like today, it becomes really challenging, and that you've got to reverse that very quickly. Great managers have been employed by this club over the last 10, 12 years, and they found it very difficult. And going into that third season, the ones who've got there have started to be put under a little bit of pressure. Erik ten Hag, obviously, at the end of last season was under great pressure, and the new owners had a look around the market to see whether they could find another manager and another coach. They decided that they couldn't do, and they supported Erik ten Hag and they backed him with a significant investment. However, they would have expected, I think, I felt like today was an important moment in the season for United, and naively thought that Spurs might be good opponents because of their high line and because of the fact they give you a chance. I just thought they've got all their players fit apart from Luke Shaw. It's Tottenham at home, where Manchester United historically have had a good record over the last 20, 30 years, and yet they were absolutely awful, and it was as bad as it gets. And that